Your business is in sync with LiveSync. This webinar is powered by LiveSync Accounting and Xero Accounting Software. Introducing Attorney Dexter Destajo.
We will start with inventory, items or products and services. On this webinar, we will cover access, setting up items, either manually or by import. We will also cover how you can apply items and services in your billing and invoicing in Xero. We'll explore inventory report. Let's discuss also limitation, and then I will show you quickly what are inventory add-ons that we can use with Xero. Let's go directly to Xero right now. Okay, so we are logged in with our LiveSync Marketing Philippines company, which we have successfully set up. Now, to go to inventory and product and services, we can basically go to the business menu, and at the bottom you will see product and services. So basically this is the inventory module of Xero. Okay, so as you can see, we are in a dashboard and there's nothing there. So we in this webinar, we're going to build examples of items. So let's start building a new item. So we are selling one bottled water. So you can do any item code if you'd want. Maybe you would say BW1LTR as a code, and then the description. So if you notice, this description is automatically copied on the descriptions of the purchase and the sell item. You will also notice that the default, the system actually checked that I purchased this item and I sell this item. This would mean that when you're creating this item, you would be selling and buying this item. Now, there's a particular tick box this at the bottom, which gives you an option whether if this item you would want to track or not. What does it mean? This treats your item, when you track this treats your item as an asset, and then every time you're buying that, it would record as an asset, okay? So I would tick here, for example, this is your asset account. Every you purchase it, it will be treated as an asset, and then Xero would track the quantity you're buying and selling real time, okay? Now, if you don't want to track this, you just have to untick. What does it mean? You are not recording this directly as an asset, and then you are just recording whatever is the account that you're selecting here. At the same time, you would not be tracking any quantity. Now, normally you don't track only in cases where it is just a service item or any items that you don't want to track inventory. But in this case, we are going to track the bottled water 1 liter. So the price of this is, let's say I'm purchasing this at 20 pesos, and then I can just create the cost of goods sold. Automatically, the default would be the VAT of 12. And then I'm selling this, for example, at 30. And then my revenue account default would be this one, sales account. And then you'd have also the output VAT being the default VAT for this. So let's save that one. Let's do another. We'll create another item called sandwich. So SW1P. Again, I would want to track this, and then I'm buying this sandwich at 75 cost of goods sold, and then I'm selling this at 100, and then this is the revenue account and the VAT. I save that. I would do another example for service item. let's say because this is a digital marketing company and then selling water and bottled water and sandwich. So this would be monthly digital MS1. Okay, that would be the code I would use. And then I'm selling this at 20,000 per month. Sorry. I would not use this because I'm not actually buying the service, but I would be selling the service at 20,000 per month, and that is the revenue with the VAT on it. I would not mark track because I would not be tracking the quantity of digital marketing, unless of course you would have that, but not really in this our example. Okay, so I'm adding this. Additionally, you can also add one more, MS1. Again, I'm not buying this, but I'm selling this at, let's say, 10,000 per month. And then this is our revenue, and then I've saved. So in this case, I would have already 4 product and service items here. You would notice that it would show us in a snapshot on the cost of each of this inventory item if it is a track item, and then the selling price, which are the default amounts, and then the quantity. Another way of recording, another way of adding inventory item would be through import. No? So if you're doing conversion, you can import the opening balances, or you can add items. So it's say you have a bulk inventory items, you can import this very conveniently using a CSV. So how do you do that? Is basically going to import and select items. Xero is very good in giving a very simple instruction. You have a limit for import of 100 items per import. It must be a CSV file. And then what you need to do is just download this template. And then in this template, you can add as many as 1,000 service items. Okay, you have these fields that is available to you. Now, very important is the one with the asterisk. The asterisk meaning you have to fill in the code here. You will have an error if you do not fill in this column. The other columns which does not give you an asterisk are just basically optional for you to fill in. But in our case, very important, I would suggest that you fill in the item code, item name, the way we're doing that in a manual thing: purchase price, tax rate, sales description, purchase account, tax rate, okay? Inventory account, we can also add all that. So it's advised that you complete that. Once that's ready, save that as a CSV, and then import it here, okay? If you have errors, it's because maybe you have extra fields that you have not deleted, or that the mandatory fields you have not inputted the data. So just import that. I would not show you the detail here, but it's a very easy importation process. Okay. Now, would be also, you might need to add opening balances because you are converting now. You can also import the opening balances. So what would happen is when you import this, you have these steps one by one. So this is very user-friendly. I don't need to go over in detail how it is going to be done, but basically you decide at what date you would start, what is the inventory account if you're using a track items, and then you have to download the item, and then you can import maximum 4,000 lines for your opening items. No. Now, if you have a question, what if you have in importing as item list, you have like 5,000, so then you have to import 5 times. Okay, normally I do not use 1,000. I do like say 999 just to make sure I have no errors. Now, when you are importing the opening balances, so what it does for you is it will show up the items that are track items. The service items will not show up here. So you just basically add the items that you would want. And then let's say I would want to add a chocolate. Okay. And then I would say right? You can do that. And then what is the asset account? So you enter the code, and then how many available stock you have. Let's say 10, you have 20, and then maybe 30 here. Okay, it's up to you. And then this adjustment account, you use also, you just copy whatever you have there already initially when you set up. My advice is that before you start to import, at least build 1 or 2 manual input of the track items, and then import that so that you would be able to be guided of what is to be copied, especially the asset codes. These are very important. This particular column, total value, can leave it by 0. Okay, the rest, this particular column would be very important for you. Save this as a CSV file and then import that from here, find from your computer. Okay, once you import that, then those items will be, and the opening balances will add up in this, in your dashboard. Now, you can also export this by Excel and PDF, by the way. So if you notice, if I will open this item, when you click the underlined blue text of the item, it will actually brings you to the dashboard of that particular product or services. It will tell you everything about the accounts that you are using, the default prices, and then the default taxes. At the bottom, you would see recent transactions, meaning Xero would track you what particular bill or invoice that you are used, that, you know, purchased and consume this particular item, and it will give us the quantity on hand, the average cost, and the total value here. Now, you might ask, what is the costing method being used on here? Xero used average cost method when calculating the cost of goods sold. Okay, now let's jump by creating our first purchase. So let's say I'm buying, so I'll go and create a bill. I'll skip the PO, but I assume you can start with the PO and then convert the PO to the bill. But what I would do would be directly recording the bill as I receive the goods from the customer. So the supplier, so the supplier delivers this today to me. Okay, he's giving me 10 days to pay. So that's June 30, and then my bill number would be 13654. I can attach that scanned copy from my computer, and then I leave that as a Philippine peso. And then what I would do is I would go here in item column of my bill entry and select the items that I'm going to buy. So let's say I'm buying this 2 items from this particular supplier. They're the one who's supplying me. And then let's say I'm buying around 200 dozens, 2 pieces of water, and then I would have 50 sandwiches that I would want to sell. You will see that the unit price and the purchase price of these items shows the default amount. And then under account, the system actually locked us from editing this because as we set up as a track item, the default system is locked to the inventory account, which is an asset account. Xero also identifies that the inventory account had a default of input VAT of 12%. So for us, what is left for us to do is just selecting the tracking categories options, no? So department 1 and branch. So all is ready. I would approve this now. Okay. Fine. Then what I would do is I would also sell this item. Sorry. Wait. I would cancel this. Doing this the wrong way. Now I have bought these items already. Let's try to sell this also in the same day portion of this. Okay, so let's say Makati customer. So there is a wholesaler who would want to buy from us also on the same day. I've issued an invoice for them, and maybe there's a quote or a PO from the customer side. You can put it in here, select the proper pro forma, and then you have An attachment may be a contract. You can also upload that from your computer. Then since we are selling here, we try to sell half of our inventory. So for bottled water, we are selling the 120 items. And as you notice, the default price of 30, we can change that to 29. We're giving them a discounted price. The sales account, I can always change at any time. The VAT default, I can always change at any time, but let's maintain an output of 12%. Then what is left for us is to select the categories. I'll do the same thing for our sandwich. Yeah, I'm selling 20 pieces without changing the price default. And then I'm also offering them a one-time marketing strategy, which is 10,000, but I give them a discount of 10%. Okay, so this is branch one's also. This is a revenue from branch one and department one. So here the input is properly recorded. And then again, if you have a withholding tax on this particular transaction, what you would do is creditable withholding tax. And then I would say maybe, let's say in my example would be, this would be 2%, for example. And then what's the total of this? So what I would do, 3,480 plus 2,000. So you notice I can do this mathematical calculation directly. And then what I would do is to put this as a negative. And then I select my liability account. If I have that liability account, not yet. So maybe I would create a liability account called, so current liability. And then I'll say 944. And then I'd say creditable withholding tax. Okay. This is no VAT for me. And then I enable this payment just in case I would use that later. So again, this is also for branch one and then for department one, right? So the calculation of the VAT is only for your 3 items. I am ready to approve this now. Voila, we're done. And then let's go again to your product and inventory. Let's see what's going on there. So in the dashboard, we see that our items are showing only this is what is left, and the 30 and the 20. We can open that quickly, what's going on here, right? So we have a balance of 120, the cost is 20, the value in our asset is 240, 2,400, and then this is the transactions that we are looking at. You can very quickly look at what are the invoice that are being issued for this particular item and what is the bill being received in buying this item, okay? You can have this option. You can mark this inactive in case you don't want to use this inventory item. And so you can just inactive this. You cannot delete an item when you are already been using this in the past. Even if it has a 0 balance, you can also edit the details here, the descriptions and the default, that's fine. Okay. And then let's see about the strategy, what happens here if there is no inventory tracking. But yeah, even though it's not tracking the quantity, but it's showing to us what particular invoice are being used or issued when we are about this particular service item. Okay. Now, finally, let's go to the reports. So Xero has very minimal reports about inventory. You go to reports and you would see an inventory portion here. They have new reports and then you have old reports. So normally you would say, maybe I want to see inventory item details for each. You can run that report. Yep. So per item, it's showing what are the transactions, what's the ending balance. This is a good report for this particular module, inventory. So normally I use this report when I'm trying to look at what is the status of the inventory. Now, limitations. Limitations of inventory system. I would admit that Xero is still, as far as inventory module is concerned, is still the same inventory system we're using since 2015 or 16. There's no so much improvement in the last year. And really, I tried to check this with QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online actually offer a very good inventory module compared. But that's I feel the only advantage of QuickBooks Online versus Xero is the inventory module. The rest, still for me, Xero would be the winner. There are other systems like Odoo. I'm very biased here, but I've tried Odoo, and it has good inventory system, but it seems there's also a lot of limitations and also very difficult to navigate. That is just my opinion. Okay. Another limitation would be if you are doing multi-warehousing, you cannot use Xero here because Xero assumes only one warehouse. Number two, if you're doing consignment, it's very tricky. It's a longer process. We do not recommend using Xero also for consignment, but there's a workaround. If you're interested to know, email us and we'll give you a cheat sheet about that. But if you want to use Xero for consignment sales, little bit challenging. There's a several process. Another limitation is you cannot use the inventory system of Xero for manufacturing. You would need an add-on inventory add-on for that. Okay. Now, in terms of who can access, who are the users, so all users can actually access and add items in Xero unless you are a read-only or report-only access. You cannot edit or add anything. Now, let me go quickly and show you what are the add-ons inventory available in Xero. So to know what are the add-ons available in Xero, you just go to xero.com and click App Marketplace. So you would notice that Xero has several apps for different categories: CRM, invoicing, documents, conversion, payments, HR. So all that. So for now, let us go to the inventory category. You will see there's a lot of options that is available there in the market right now. Many of them are very new, but there are also those are already very old and we have experience using with them. So for us, really, we would recommend Dear Inventory. We've implemented a lot of clients with Dear Inventory already. It's the fastest, and they're the one who's giving a lot of upgrades nowadays. You can use this for manufacturing, consignment sales, multi-warehousing. You can do that here as well. It can be integrated with Xero. You can create separate chart of account for each of your inventory item. That's very good if you're tracking separately, let's say a category of your revenue or your items on different inventory category or revenue category. There would be very good. And that's why it has a cap here, meaning Xero staff picks this one. We also pick this one. We've been working with Dear since 2015, and there's a lot of improvements with that. Also, another winners are Unleashed and TradeGeeko. They are also very competitive. They've also provide the same, almost share the same features with Dear. Can do high-level types of inventory transactions. Okay, so if you want to choose, study them, try them, and then try out any of this which is applicable for you. So that is all about product and services